Hello students. So today we will continue our discussion for the future ecosystems, and today our lecture topic is case study on BGI solutions. Here also we will start with the summary of the modules. Today I have chosen module 3 first, urban ecosystem. The first lecture under this module was urban ecosystem components. The key concept of urban ecosystem is defined by the dominance of the built system and high human population density. They function as open systems requiring vast external inputs of energy and materials and exporting massive waste. The anthroposphere encompasses the human made environment, integrating socio-economic and biophysical spheres. Socioeconomic factors we discuss governance, culture, economy, which act as a prime drivers which are shaping the urban ecological processes. Keywords of this lecture was anthroposphere, built system, open systems, socioeconomic environment. In the following lecture, urban ecosystem functions and processes we explored. Key concepts were urban functions are hybrid, combining natural capital with human derived assets like technology and infrastructure. Resource import creates an artificial trophic wave, decoupling the city from the local primary production. It's a new one. Information flow via digital and social networks acts as the neural network, regulating feedback in the urban ecosystem. Climate regulation shifts from natural processes to engineered solutions like green roofs and ventilation corridor. The keywords were synthetic ecology, artificial trophic wave, information flow, hybridization. Next lecture was on urban metabolism, which is very important one. Its concept is which analyzing the cities as organisms that consume resources and excrete waste. Abel Wolfman in 1965 formalized the concept using an input-output model to quantify urban resource flows. The goal is to shift from a linear metabolism, take, make, waste, to a circular metabolism. Once we understand what is going in the waste, we can recycle and reuse that. Tools like material flow analysis account for the mass balance of input, stock, and outputs in a city. Urban metabolism, Abel Ullman, material flow analysis, and the circular economy were the keywords for this lecture. Urban ecosystem and water, the lecture 14 talked about the key concept of urbanization, which creates an engineered water cycle, and that is fundamentally altering the natural hydrology. Impervious surfaces drastically reduce infiltration and increase surface runoff, leading to flashy hydrographs. We discussed that hydrographs as well. The urban stream syndrome describes the ecological degradation of waterways due to increased runoff velocity and pollution. First flush phenomena washes concentrated pollutants, oil, metals, etc. from the surfaces into water bodies during the storm. Keywords chosen were urban hydrograph, impervious surfaces, urban stream syndrome, first flush. Lecture 15, the last lecture of that particular module, were demonstration of urban ecosystem and water. Achieving water security requires non-conventional resources and an integrated urban water management approach. That was the key concept. We discussed ice stupas in Ladakh, fog harvesting, Singapore's NEWater. And the key words were desalination, NEWater, fog harvesting, ice stupas, and definitely integrated urban water management. So today we'll be covering the case study on BGI solutions, and for that the flow will be like from concept to capability, global benchmarks, the Indian context, synthesis and scaling. The 5 capabilities: measure, sensing, which we discussed in lecture 53. Regenerate, eco-engineering. Design wisely, best management practices. Manage risk, planning, and scale responsibly, which we will be discussing in this lecture. The pedagogical arc, moving from site solutions to urban systemic one. Problem is success at the pilot scale, a rain garden doesn't equal resilience at the city scale. We discussed this previously also. The objective is to understand how to network isolated green projects into a city-wide infrastructure. So the key question here, how do BGI systems perform when integrated into a dense resource constrained urban matrix? So the scaling gap has been identified as the fragmented governance, siloed departments, lack of financial mechanism, who pays for the operation and maintenance, the grey matrix dominance, impervious roads and buildings are the normal matrix for any urban areas. The engineering logic brings us to the patch corridor matrix. It has started with the landscape ecology, T.T. Foreman, who gave us this idea in 1986, who provided us this concept in 1986. The application of this PCM is not for conservation but for infrastructure engineering. In city planning, this means ensuring parks and blue spaces which are linked like through the green streets or riparian buffers. That facilitates the movement of species and the flow of ecosystem services across the city. The matrix, the dominant land cover, the patch, nodes of storage and biodiversity, and the corridor, conduits of flow, drain, canals, green streets. So, designing BGI with this logic improves connectivity. We discussed it, introduced it also in lecture 41. Redefining PCM in the context of the future urban ecosystem, these elements take on specific engineering definitions. The matrix, the background fabric that controls flows of energy and matter. Urban reality, the matrix is hostile, impervious, hot island generator. So, how to really change that matrix? The patches, the non-linear surfaces that differ from the surrounding matrix. In a BGI network, patches function as nodes or capacitors. The corridors, the linear strips that connect patches. In a functional BGI system, corridors act as a conduits for flows. Future urban planning must focus on structural connectivity, designing the grey matrix like roads to function as green corridors during extreme events. Hybrid grey green structure. The false binary is it's either grey or green. No, it has to be grey and green. Complementarity. The green manages high frequency, low intensity events, 90% of the rain events, polishes the water quality, whereas the grey will manage the low frequency, high intensity events, cloudburst like thing, conveys the volume. The performance matrix has to be different. Resilience. Coupled systems improve flood resilience by more than 30% compared to pure grey expansion. Cost efficiency extends the lifespan of grey assets by reducing sediment or pollutant load. Safe failure, green system fail gracefully with slower flooding, whereas grey systems will fail catastrophically with rapid inundation. Global benchmarks operationalizing this resilience at scale. Copenhagen, we will see very good examples here, the hydraulic city. The triggering event was in July 2011, cloudburst 1000-year storm event, 150 mm rain in 2 hours. The existing grey infrastructure, a combined sewer system designed for historical rainfall patterns, was overwhelmed. Sewage contaminated water flooded cellars and streets, causing over 1 billion euro in direct damages. This event was the tipping point that forced the utility and the municipality to acknowledge that the pipe bound paradigm was fiscally and physically impossible to scale to meet climate change projections. So, what they have brought? Technical solutions, Cloudburst Boulevard. The concept is redesign roads to act as reprofile canals during extreme rain. Now the road network, the matrix functions as a surface hydraulic channel. You just see now the crown is here. But what is being advised now that okay, let us go for a channel. The deep is here. So high curves, reversed crown profile, channels water away from basement to the harbor or lakes. So this entire road will actually act like a drain. Complementing these boulevards are retention parks such as Soul of Norebo project, Hans Tavsen parks. These public spaces are designed as biotopes that function as dual use infrastructure. So, in the Copenhagen, we can see also the change in governance, the Copenhagen formula. Prior to 2011, Danish law prohibited water utility companies from investing in surface projects. They could only spend collected tariffs on subsurface pipes. This created a funding silo where the utility had money but no mandate for green solutions, while the municipality had the mandate of green solutions but no money. So, the innovation was legislative change, which allowed the utility to fund surface projects if cheaper than pipe expansion. Financials, this gray green solution versus the gray solution has been a real good shift in the governance. And net benefit, donor kroner 5 billion over 100 years. That's the net benefit expected out of this paradigm shift. Singapore, the biophilic city, every time we come back to these examples, ABC, active, beautiful, clean. Singapore's primary driver is water security. Every drop of rain is a resource that must be captured and cleaned for reuse because they don't have any other natural sources for water. Treating the entire island as catchment is the scale. Waterway Regis like project was initiated by the public housing precinct, integration of biosoils in high density fabric, and ABC features rain gardens, bioretention soils, etc. that occupy only 5.4% of the precinct area. But performance wise, 33% reduction in the peak flow in the 10-year storm event. The ABC guidelines, which provide detailed engineering specification that rival standard civil engineering codes. So, this is a very strong contribution of this project. Bioretention soils, the guidelines specify a precise cross section consisting of a surface vegetation layer to slow velocity, a filtration media, sandy loam with high hydraulic conductivity to strip pollutants, and a transition layer leading to a gravel drainage layer at the bottom. Cleansing biotopes, these features use specific macrophytes, wetland plants, selected for their ability to absorb nitrates and phosphates. This is critical because Singapore captures urban runoff for its reservoirs. The beautiful component is a functional water treatment facility, that is B. The Indian context, the context matters. Hydroclimatic Indian cities face the monsoon pulse, intense short duration rainfall, often exceeding 100 mm per hour, which we have seen that in case of Copenhagen, it's not really happening like that. And this monsoon pulse is followed by long scorching dry spells. BGI systems in India must therefore be amphibious. They must survive drought conditions for 8 months while managing torrential floods for 4 months. So, the high density matrix plus encroached corridors, slums, informal settlements. That is the spatial challenge. Scaling BGI in India involves navigating complex issues of land tenure, displacement, and social equity. Fragmented governance. A single lake might be owned by the forest department, managed by the development authorities like Bangalore Development Authority, filled by the sewage by the water supply board, Bangalore Water Supply Board, and surrounded by parks maintained by the municipality. So, so many different governance partners there. So, who will take the lead? First, we will start with Bengaluru only, Bengaluru Lake System. The decentralized governance and networked restoration, cascaded tank systems, which we have seen traditionally, almost all the cities have enjoyed it. Fragmented sewage fed eutrophic, that's the current status of this lake. Integrated wetland model, Jakul Lake. For Jakul Lake, that was the model. 10 MLD STP plus 7-acre constructed wetland and algal pond and the main lake. That was the solution side. Tertiary treatment via nature, closing the loop. Collaborative model, Jalaposhana Trust. The performance and reality check in the case of Jakul Lake, improved BOD or DO levels. This system has been widely cited as a model for integrated urban water management. Phosphorus balance study was done in 2022 and where we could see that it has not been really able to reach. Wetland only removes 12% of the phosphorus. Fugitive emissions, raw sewage bypass and detergents are there. So, a wetland cannot fix a broken sewage network alone. It highlights the concept of carrying capacity for BGI. If the pollution load exceeds the biological capacity of the plants, in this particular case it's a wetland, then the system fails. So we have to also be aware about this carrying capacity. Bengaluru governance, the commons, we will see how the solution came forward. While Jakkur is a technical study, Kaikondrahalli and the Putenahalli are governance studies. They represent the social infrastructure required to maintain BGI. Kaikondrahalli Lake, this lake was restored as a biodiversity hotspot, deliberately avoiding the soup bowl concrete tank design favored by engineers. Interestingly, the design retained dead trees for birds to perch on and maintained shallow mudflats for the waders. The restoration was driven by a partnership between the municipality and a citizen trust. The design features a kalyani, a tank for idol immersion, which separates religious rituals from the main biodiversity zone, demonstrating cultural sensitivity in BGI design. Putanahalli Lake, the commons example. First official MOU between Citizen Trust and the municipality was done for this case, and the lake water level is being maintained using the treated apartment wastewater. It effectively closes the water loop at a neighborhood scale, turning wastewater into a resource for ecosystem survival. Legal fragility, PILs against private management of public assets is there. That's a great challenge, which underscores the need for a formal legal framework for citizen stewardship. The eyes on the street, or in this case, eyes on the lake, are as important as the bonds and sluice gates. So, governance, maintenance, technology, everything matters. The second case study comes from the Chennai's oscillation between day zero water scarcity and catastrophic flooding demands a BGI strategy focused intensely on aquifer recharge. The city sits on a unique sandy coastal aquifer system which is currently paved over. Flat coastal terrain, aquifer depletion, and flood and drought oscillation. So that is the very challenging context for the Chennai city. So the strategy have been picked up, that is pond strategy. And the two important interventions will be discussed, Chitlapakkam and the Kadapakkam lakes. In the Chitlapakkam, once a landfill, this lake was reclaimed through a massive community movement. Chitlapakkam Rising. The restoration involved desilting to increase storage capacity and using the dredged silt to strengthen the bunds. A circular construction method that reduces material transportation cost. So you can see in 2017 the condition, and then it was under work, and now the Chitlapakkam lake looks like this. The intervention has increased the water holding capacity by almost 70%, effectively creating a flood buffer for the surrounding residential areas. The other case from the Chennai is the Kadapakkam. This project pilots the use of nature-based solutions to treat inflows from industrial Manali area. It integrates sediment traps, floating wetlands, and decentralized wastewater treatment systems (DWATS) to enhance water quality prior to recharge. It further explores the use of biosoils and septic tank integration. So we can see that in this particular Chennai Coastal Resilience Mission, lake restoration, industrial buffer, urban sponge, systemic goal has been identified. So primary function, NBS components, and the financing model that has been developed for these three intervention types like lake and industrial buffer and the urban sponge. And the entire city is actually the focus of this intervention. So different models which can go with that has been picked up, and we can see the financing has come both from the public and the donor side, private side. So that's the way we can see why this particular coastal resilience mission is going on and accepted by the people. Synthesis and scaling. Synthesis from project to system. The future urban ecosystem requires shifting from project management to system management. Data driven planning is important because we cannot manage what we cannot measure. Tools like Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework and NIUS CCube are attempting to create a data baseline for Indian cities. The framework tracks indicators such as percentage of green cover and water body rejuvenation. This data layer is the first step in moving from ad hoc projects to measured performance. Master planning integration is the next step from project to system. If you have to move, master planning integration is a compulsory there. We may apply the PCM logic at the master plan level. Every road is a potential corridor. Every park is a potential sponge and should be evaluated for its hydraulic capacity. Financing the future becomes critical because this is a barrier in India for BGI, not only for creation but also for operation and maintenance. The capex trap. Most Indian central schemes like Amrut 1.0 funded capital expenditure but left operational and maintenance to financially weak municipalities. The result is built then abandoned. That type of infrastructure. Silted biosoils and clogged drains. New models, Amrit 2.0 is actually focusing on rejuvenation and water balance, green bonds, value capturing financing, taxing the amenity value of PGI. Governance models for scaling, state-led high capacity rigid like Copenhagen model can be looked at. Precinct regulation, developer driven, Singapore ABC guidelines, citizen partnership, fragile but inclusive. In Bengaluru case, we have seen that. Ecological authority, statutory protection, that is East Kolkata wetland. Future governance requires interdepartmental committees and or dedicated blue-green authorities, but with stronger enforcement powers that have jurisdiction over the entire hydrological cycle. So, the flexibility also to be drawn from the context of that city and the challenge. India needs a hybrid model, statutory enforcement with community stewardship. So, we can conclude this future of the ecosystem like to build the future, the next generation of urbanists must use five capabilities measure, use the CSCAF, climate smart, use the climate smart cities and sensors to understand the pulse of the ecosystem, regenerate, use the PCM model to repair the urban fabric, design wisely, use the ABC Waters guidelines to build hybrid grey green solutions that work, manage risk, allow for safe failure, scale responsibly, innovate in governance and finance. So today we have discussed first the third module of this urban ecosystem course. Then we discussed the BGI risk, the example of BGI, from concept to capability, global benchmarks, Indian context, and synthesis and scaling. And these are the references for your perusal. Thank you.